Okay, welcome guys. It is Wednesday evening, June 25th, in preparation for Thursday, June 26th. We are going to pick back up with the Market Wizards interview with top traders by Jack Swagger. Before we jump into tonight's market analysis, we are on the chapter on Marty, the Pitbull Schwartz, champion trader. Um, beginning here says, Schreier says, I was struck by Schwartz's dedication to his daily work routine. He was doing his market analysis when I arrived and continued to run through calculations during our interview. When I left that evening, he was still unfinished. And even though he appeared very tired, I had no doubt he would finish his work that evening. Schwartz spent a decade losing money on his trading before he found his stride as a remarkably successful professional trader. Um, Okay. Let's see. His performance in these, so he entered U.S. trading championships back in the whatever year this was, but he entered trading championships. His performance in these contests had been nothing short of outstanding. In nine of the 10 4-month trading championships, so this is only a 4-month trading championship, he entered. Typically, with a starting stake of 400,000, he made more money than all the other contestants combined. I'll let that sink in for a second. He made more money than all the other contestants combined. His average return in those 9 contests was 210% non-annualized. In the one remaining 4-month contest, he witnessed a nearly break-even result. In his single entry in a 1-year contest, so he did enter a 1-year contest one time. He scored a 781% return, which that's better than Mark Cook. Mark Cook had 500 and something percent return. Marty Schwartz had 781. I can hear you guys right now. Why didn't I train with Marty Schwartz instead of Mark Cook? I can hear it right now. So anyway, all right. So let's move on. For example, when the market gets good news and it goes down, it means that the market is very weak. When it gets bad news and it goes up, it means the market is healthy, which we've kind of covered that in some of the other guys' assessments. I just think it's always good to remind ourselves that, wait a minute, that was really good news. Why are we going down? That should, be a sign the market is telling you something pretty significant there. Jack Schwager says, when did you turn from a loser to a winner in your trading? Marty Schwartz says, when I was able to separate my ego's needs from making money, and when I was able to accept being wrong. Before, admitting I was wrong was more upsetting than losing the money. I used to try to will things to happen. I figured it out. Therefore, it can't be wrong. But basically, he was an analyst, and he said, I figured it out. Therefore, I can't be wrong. When I became a winner, I said, I figured it out. But if I'm wrong, I'm getting the hell out because I want to save my money and go on to the next trade. By living that philosophy that my winners are always in front of me, it is not so painful to take a loss. If I make a mistake, so what? Swagger says, did you make a complete transition from fundamental to technical analysis? Schwartz said, absolutely. I always laugh at people who say, I have never met a rich technician. I love that. It is such an arrogant, nonsensical response. I used fundamentals for 9 years, but then I got rich as a technician. Um, but were you still doing fundamental analysis as an analyst? Yes, to earn a salary, but um, nope. I'll have to call him back. Um, sorry. That's your dad, Jacob. But yes, but to earn a salary. He said, I always pictured myself being brave, courageous, and strong, but when it came time to take a chance, I was scared out of my mind. I had 140,000, of which about $30,000 was tied up in tax deals, and 92,500 was used to pay for the seat on the American Stock Exchange, and that left me with about 20,000 when I went to the floor as a market maker. I borrowed 50,000 from my in-laws, which then gave me $70,000 worth of working capital. I started off losing in my first 2 days in the business. I got involved in Mesa Petroleum options because Zollner, who I profoundly respected, thought they were significantly undervalued. I called him the second day from the floor. Are you sure you're right? I must had a grand total of 10 options, and I was down $1,800 and dying. I was petrified because in my mind, I was down almost 10% since I did not consider my in-laws' money part of my own working capital. The third day, Mesa options started going up, and I never looked back. After that first 4 months, I was ahead by $100,000. The next year, I earned $600,000. After 1981, I never earned less than seven figures. I remember talking to a good friend of mine in 1979 and saying, I don't think anybody can make $40,000 a month trading options. Now I can do that in a day without a problem. Um, I think that's where I stopped for today. We'll pick back up on some of the other stories um, tomorrow. No, actually, I will be out. I'll be down traveling this weekend. I won't be back until next Tuesday. So whether I get a video out Monday night or not, it's still to be determined. But we'll pick back up on this next week. All right. So, this right here. This is Marty Schwartz, Marty Buzzy Schwartz, Wall Street trader, made his fortune in stocks, futures, and options. National championship. Loves horses. So this is his place here. So I zoomed in on the map, and this is the map. So this is his house right here. I'll hold this. So I thought you guys would find this interesting. That's Schwartz's house there, right on the ocean. So that's stuff that's possible with trading. So all right, jump on in here a little further. Okay, I wanted to start with the 60-minute .V chart, or what I have labeled as a gap chart, the real-time trading hours. So again, this is 60 minutes. We have not come back and touched this moving average. It's currently sitting at about 61.18. I think my logo is in that top corner here, so let me pull this down here a little bit. But yeah, so this is currently sitting here around 61.18, 61.19 zone. Which is the prior day's open. It is where that moving average on the 60-minute .D chart is setting. As of right now, we don't have true tick divergences. You know, we've made a higher fast line, higher slow line. No true tick divergences yet. I said tick. I meant LBR divergences as of yet. So we'll keep an eye on that. Looked over here at the daily. So on the daily here, we only closed up about three points. So we've had this breakout, and this a lot of people think, oh, this is going to indicate weaknesses. I've seen this kind of pattern where I've thought that exact same thing many times. Not saying that we can't go down tomorrow, but many times I've thought, oh, this is weakness, that it's stalling out. This is going to come back down now, fill all those gaps. However, I have seen where, this just continues to rip to the upside a little bit further. So we want to be aware of that. Also, still on this daily LBR 310 picture, we are still, we have not broken down there in that slow line yet. So this picture is still holding as positive and bullish for now. So we want to be aware of that. The 2-period rate of change, did want to cover that. I talked about that yesterday, that 2-period rate of change. We barely went up on that on fairly significant move. Today we kind of just sideways. We're doji here, and that 2-period rate of change moved down pretty significantly. Here today. So today it's at 1.13. Yesterday we were at 1.97. So it did reset a little bit there. We don't know if we're going to show greater weakness and breakdown just yet, or if we're going to get that other push up here. It's looking bearish. Oh yeah, sorry, I wanted to go to the 240-minute chart for that. All right, so here on the 240-minute chart. 240-minute chart, where I've shown you those lines here. We've gone over those as far as other possible resistance zones. Well, we broke out of that resistance zone, came back and tested it. So far, we're holding above that fine. There's nothing here showing. You still got your slow line moving up. The fast line has done that pullback today, but that's just during this consolidation. So it's kind of this move up, we're consolidating. We're going to see, okay, after this significant move up, how long are we going to consolidate? So Dustin, you and I watched that video from uh, Brightstein talking about, you have this move up. How long are you going to consolidate? If we break out to the upside too quick and come back down, that could be a false breakout. Really after this kind of move, you kind of want to see a little more sideways consolidation on this to support that next move up or the next move down. But we'll see how that plays out. If you are looking for bearish, you do have like I said, the fast line come back down here on the 10 o'clock and the 1400, poked up a little bit higher there on this little bit of bearish. So if you're looking for reason to be bearish, there's another good reason there. And then the internals on the VIX. Okay, that's over here. Pull that back over. The VIX here. So you notice I just want to show this area here, where we come down and finding support down in this 12, 10, 12 zone here. This is back in 2023. This is back in 2024. Little bit down here in the 12s here in end of 2024 here. Well, here we are in 2025. And we're not quite back down to those levels yet. So just showing you that there is further that this, the VIX could push down before we reach other potential zones. And then I want to be aware of, this little double bump. Is this little double bump, indication for going down further? However, I want to temper that with this little bit of a bullish type action here in the LBR 310. As I've mentioned before, I never heard Linda talk about that's how she utilizes her LBR. But I've put it on here just to kind of monitor it and keep an eye on it. And so far, it does seem to have some predictive, ability. It's just you never know when that timing is going to kick in. So, are we going to push down here, make that lower, do what I was, saying on that 240? Are we going to break out to the upside? And it'll do a false breakout because we break out too fast? That is a potential. That is a possibility. But I just want to show there is room for downside. But yet there's, we got to keep this picture in mind. Additionally, on the this is the SPY charted down here below. You can see that we're not far from all-time highs. We're in here. We got up into here today. The tops of these points from back in late December of 2024. Well, here we are halfway through 2025, and we're basically at the same place we were at the end of the year last year. So anybody who has portfolios and just been holding on to stuff, that's kind of interesting to think about that. They've been, holding on these portfolios, and they're at the same spot that they were at the end of 2024. So, what does that mean here? Like I said, this still continues to show that strength, that push up, start to pull another push up. We could get that other push up, and then strength could come back in this market and keep pushing it up, or we could start reaching exhaustion. I know, it could go up, it could go down, but I hear you guys. All right, that's it for tonight. Happy trading tomorrow, safe trading tomorrow, and we will follow up next week on the videos. Talk again soon.